Welcome friends to my kitchen. Today is the day I make sweetbread. A lot of you have been asking me for recipes from sweetbread, and today I'm going to show you. I have so many recipes for sweetbread, and all of them, they're good. I've made them and they're all so delicious. Sometimes it's hard to choose which one I'm going to do. But I made this recipe last year and everybody loved it. Everybody was commenting how good the sweetbread was. So I'm going to do it again, but with an exception. I have heard so many people talk about FOLAROS flour. FOLAROS flour is so good. So I ordered some at Amazon, because here in California we can't find FOLAROS. At least in my area I haven't found anything. So I ordered some at Amazon, and I'm going to use that instead of the regular flour that I use. Some people, you know, and there is some flours that work better than the others, but I've used variety of flours when I make sweetbread. I don't go pick a special flour. I make what I have, and I usually have pretty good success. So I think if you're familiar with the dough, how the dough's supposed to look like and not supposed to feel, I think you pretty much can do with anything. Some people are very intimidated about making sweetbread. It's not any different than making bread. So anyway, so I'm going to use the FOLAROS, and we're going to see how it comes out. So let me show you what I have in here. Okay, I have the 5 pounds of the FOLAROS flour. That's what I'm going to use. I have 4 cups of milk. I have 15 whole eggs. These are my chicken eggs, so they're real dark yolk. 4 cups of sugar. 3 cubes or 1.5 cups of butter. 2 tablespoons, 2 heaping tablespoons of Crisco. I like to use the butter, more flavor. 1 tablespoon kosher salt. This is kosher salt. 2 tablespoons of zest of lemon. If you don't have the lemon zest, I also can use 2 tablespoons or even up to 3 tablespoons of the extract, lemon extract. And then I have 2 tablespoons of yeast. And we're going to start by doing the yeast. So I'm going to put my yeast in here. I'm going to grab a little bit of the sugar, put it in here. Doesn't have to have special measurements. They're all going to the same place. Okay, and then I have here 1/2 cup of warm water. And I'm going to start by making my yeast. And you want to start this so it can start bubbling and it can start doing its thing. You don't have to mix too much. Just make sure all that's incorporated, and that's done. And we're going to put that aside. In my mixer, I'm going to add the 4 cups of sugar, and I'm going to beat the sugar with the eggs. And the lemon zest. And I'm going to beat this for about 5 minutes. And then I'll come back and show you. Friends, it's been 5 minutes. I've beaten my eggs, and I also melted all the butter, and I'm gonna add the milk, and I don't put them together to warm them up at the beginning. I warmed them separate. You don't want them to heat them both together, because then the milk will be too hot. I don't want the milk too hot. So anyway, so I'm gonna let that sit there. Here's my salt. I'm gonna mix the salt with the flour. And I forgot to mention, these are hard-boiled eggs. This is around the Easter time. We do flash, and the flash you put an egg in the middle of the sweetbread. The tradition is that it's like the little surprise inside the bread when you open and there's that egg. It's like that little surprise. So anyway, so those are towards the end. And I'm also going to add, because I love sweetbread, I like the lemon flavor. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon extract into my eggs, and I'm going to mix it. Just a little bit more, maybe about a minute. I love the flavor of lemon on sweetbread. If it doesn't have the flavor of lemon, it doesn't taste sweetbread to me. I don't know. My mom always had lemon. And look how beautiful this eggs are. They're like a pale yellow. And that's how you want it. That's why you need to beat them for 5 minutes. And if you don't have a mixer, you can do it by hand. You're just going to get tired and you're going to have muscles. But just mix all this. And my yeast is bubbling. So I'm going to add my yeast. My mom used to make so much sweetbread, and it was not just 5 pounds. And when she would do it, she would bake it in wood oven she had. And the funny thing was, you know, over there the weather is cold and stuff, so sometimes she would have to cook it in the middle of the night. And when the sweetbread was done, she would call us, and we would come downstairs and eat the sweetbread. It was a tradition to come and eat sweetbread when it was still hot. Oh, that smell. And the reason I love sweetbread, the reason I don't make it as much is because of the darn sugar. Can't have this sugar. So mix all this. And then I'm gonna pour all the eggs. Look how beautiful that is. The eggs, the sugar. I don't have a mixer. If you want to do a small amount, you can do all this in your mixer. You would just, instead of adding the eggs to the flour, you would add the flour to the eggs, all the other ingredients to it. So, but you know me, I gotta do it by hand. So now we mix all this, and like I said, we're gonna see how this flour is. I've heard everybody say, oh, 5 Rosas is the best flour. We'll see. And I'm just gonna keep mixing this. There's people who always used to give me recipes of sweetbread. And I have people placing orders for sweetbread, but my oven is too small. One day I'll get my big ovens and we'll make sweetbread. So you just gonna want to make sure you incorporate all that flour and everything is mixed. I remember my mom making, they would spend hours and hours beating, and even us, when we were kids, we would take turns beating the sweetbread and mixing and doing this and doing that. Nope, not me. I want it mixed. I want all this incorporated here, and then I'll go from there. It looks like it's all incorporated. As you can see, I did it with one hand. You don't need to mix more than this, as long as everything is mixed. Now it start doing its thing. So that yeast is start rising, and then it start releasing the gluten, and then that's when we'll be able. So I'm gonna cover this and let it sit here for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna come, then that's when you start working. But right now, that flour needs to start soaking all those other, soaking all the water, the liquid, and all the flavors, and then that's when we do the next one. Okay, I'm gonna 15 minutes, and now I'm gonna start working my dough. I get my hands wet, and you want to get your hands wet when it starts sticking. And you want it in warm water. And you start doing flips. And you want to do flips to stretch in that gluten. It has a good consistency, because I was worried, you know, because I was using a different flour, how it was gonna be. So anyway, and I go from pulling from the bowl and then doing those flips. And I'm gonna do this maybe for about 5 minutes here, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay friends, it's been 15 minutes. I put some pots with hot water around it, and I can see a difference already. So here I go again. I give another hand, and what I do is I go in around the bowl with my hands wet, kind of release that dough from the side. Get it all separated, that way it makes it easier flips. And this is gonna be here for a while. Like I said, the day today is cold, so I'm gonna let this do its thing until it doubles in size, but it's looking good. I remember growing up, and I remember my mom doing this. She would put the lemon zest, she would take the skin of the lemon, and she would put it in a pot with some aguardiente. And I never could understand why she would put aguardiente in the sweetbread. Well, that's how she made lemon extract. I don't know if that was something to do with that would do something to the bread. So I used to do that for a long time. And then I realized the reason she was doing was because it was like lemon extract. So anyway, so I'm gonna give a couple more flips, and I'm gonna let this sit here and check to see if that water, because I think the water is helping. This bowl won't fit in my oven, so otherwise I would have put the oven on warm. Just warm it up and then turn it off, and would put it in there and it would rise too. So just give some flips, and it's good. Like I said, I was afraid of the consistency for the flour, being it was a different flour, but it's good. Okay, I'm gonna put sprinkle more flour over. I'm gonna cover, And at this point, just let it sit here until this bowl is almost full. Okay, friends, my sweetbread has doubled in size. Look at this. It took 5 hours. Like I said, it's very cold here today. And it took 5 hours. It took 5 hours for my bread to come to this. And what I did, like my mom used to do it, I had some pots of boiling water, and I put them underneath my bowl and around it, and that's what brought this. It brought the dough to rise up because it's so cold here today. I'm gonna put little ones in here because these are gonna be for my grandkids, and I want to make the ones with the eggs, and then I'm gonna flip them. But I'm gonna make the small ones in there, and then I'll bake them, take them out of there and put them in a cookie sheet. But anyway, so now you wanna get your hands wet, and you cut a piece of dough, whatever size you want or whatever size of your pans. These pans in here, I already sprayed them with oil or with cooking spray, and that way they don't stick. So I have 6 grandkids, but only 5. I'm only making for 5. One of them is too young, still can't eat that. So anyway, and that's what I'm gonna do. So when my mom used to make sweetbread, and like I said, the Azores was very cold. We didn't have heaters in our house. We didn't have the modern stuff that we do today, so it took forever to warm the house. So my mom would fill up pots with hot water, and she would put it around the bowl, and that would heat up the dough and make it come faster. Another way, especially if it was during the night, she used to take the dough and put it at the end of her bed, and cover with blankets, and that would help the dough to rise. So for those people out there in the cold, you do whatever it takes to bring that dough to warm it up. So anyway, so now I'm shaping my dough into these little balls and put them on my pans, and you kind of go more and less the bottom of your pan. Okay, friends, I'm already taking these small, what they do, I gotta put the eggs. And what I do is I cut it, and then I insert the egg on top. And what's happening is that egg is gonna sink, it's gonna sink down. And now I'm gonna brush with the egg wash. This is just 1 egg with a tablespoon of water. And you just want to give a good egg wash so it kind of gives a nice shine. My oven is preheated at 400 degrees, and I just turned it down to 375. These little ones won't take too long, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes the most. But here's my first one. Okay, friends, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my cuts and put my eggs I want just this one with 1 egg. But there's some, I might need 2, 3 eggs. And that's what I do. I make a little nest for the eggs to nest. And I want to do this before my dough rises. So that way when it does, it puffs up and I won't deflate it. I don't want to deflate it, that dough. So I'm gonna do to all of them. There we go, 2 more. And then when I'm all done putting the eggs, I'm gonna let it rest until they double at least halfway the pan. And then I brush them with some egg wash and I bake them. My last bread, sweetbread, out of the oven. So from the beginning until now, it was 6 hours. It was a process for making all this. I made them smaller because I'm gonna give them most away. So that way I can share with all my family and some of my friends. But anyway, so I want to see one of these to see if I see a difference because I used a different flour. They're still warm, but I want to show you the inside. They're very soft. Look at that. Look how soft this is. It has a beautiful color. It pulls apart. Oh my gosh. This is so good. I love when it's moist inside. It's not dry. I hate a sweetbread that is dry. This is not dry at all. This is so good. It has a lot of lemon. So it is really good. So anyway, for those people out there that have been asking for a recipe for sweetbread, here it is. The recipe will be on description. And here you have 5 pounds. You can't do less than 5 pounds. I mean, if you want to share. So you have the recipe. And I'm gonna dig into this sweetbread. It'll be gone before the end of the night. So anyway, you do your sweetbread for Easter. This one will be to give it away. I'll probably make one more batch before Easter because it's too early for us. This will be all to give it away. And you try. Make this a memory with your children, grandchildren right now, that they enjoy and know this tradition, because this was a tradition for us. There was never a time we didn't have un Folaro. And my mom would make one small one like this. See? And we had to wait to eat it Easter morning. You didn't eat yours until Easter morning. When she would make it, she would wake us up in the middle of the night, or whatever was first to eat hot. She would wake us up. I'm even surprised sometimes that she would wake us up, sometimes school nights and stuff, but she would wake us up for us to come and eat some warm sweetbread. But our Folaro, we ate it every Easter morning. That was our breakfast. So, anyway, you tried this recipe. Give me some feedback. Give me a thumbs up. And until next time, have a good day.